If you love painting waterfalls, then Watkins Glen State Park is the place to be. This small New York State Park has been on my list for quite a while, and I finally got a chance to go earlier this fall. We stopped by in the afternoon as part of the beginning of a weekend of hiking, and it was a lovely way to start off the trip. The main hike here is pretty short. It's only about 1.5 miles in either direction. But along the way, you see 19 different waterfalls. There are definitely a lot of steps, but because you're stopping every couple of minutes or seconds to see another waterfall, it doesn't really feel like you're going up and down 832 stone steps. I was not hiking alone, so I didn't stop to paint along the way, but I did stop to take in the view and take plenty of reference photos and videos for me to look back at later. Every step along the way of this hike was just as pretty as the last, and although it was pretty busy because it's a pretty popular trail, it was still a really great time. This hike is made mostly of well-maintained stone walkways and stone steps, and they do get a little bit wet in certain places because of all of the waterfalls and just the amount of water that's around. So you do have to be careful where you're stepping sometimes, and you might have to dodge some water from above at certain points. But it was really not a problem at all, and honestly just kind of added to the experience. One of my favorite parts of this hike is that you get to walk behind one of the waterfalls, which is something that I have always wanted to do, so that was pretty fun. The town of Watkins Glen is right on the edge of Seneca Lake, so after the hike was over, we walked through town and all the way down to the water so we could check it out. It was really pretty and peaceful, and there weren't a lot of boats on the water. It was nice to be able to look right out and just absorb the view. After spending some time on the docks, we walked back and left to continue our trip. This year, I've started a new thing where I'm trying to remember to make a sketchbook spread after I go on a trip or a really fun hike that ends up being a bit of an overview of some of the things I saw during the trip as a little keepsake. And so I started that earlier this year when I went to Portugal, and I want to continue this for the future because I really like the way that they come out, and they do take kind of a while to make, but I think that it's worth it because they make me really happy to look at. It was hard to choose a reference for this spread because there were just so many gorgeous videos and photos, and it was really hard to try to figure out which ones to choose as the highlights because you just kind of want to choose them all. But the one that I did end up going with is one of the main, bigger waterfalls from the hikes, and this view was just one of my favorites. My goals for this sketchbook spread were to really try to capture the cool features of the rocks and how you could kind of really see how the water carved its way through, and also to try to make sure that I could capture the variation in color and in the grays of the rocks. So it was fun to kind of figure out the best way to do that because I haven't really tried to paint rocks like this before, and there's a lot of texture to them, and waterfalls are also not necessarily the easiest thing for me to paint, so I knew that it was going to be fun to practice those as well. I did paint this in my Etcher Perfect sketchbook, so it's on 100% cotton paper, and I used my silver black velvet brushes, I think for most, if not all of this. And I used both a white gel pen for some highlights on the water and also a Posca pen for the lettering on the Seneca Lake sign. I don't love my white gel pen. I don't find that it works very well. So it was a little frustrating to try to use it on this painting because it just wasn't doing what I want it to do. So if anyone has any recommendations for good white gel pens, I am definitely looking for a new one. So please feel free to comment that below and let me know which ones you use, if you like them. Or actually, tell me which ones you hate so that I know to avoid them. I used my main paint palette for this, so most of the colors are burnt umber, ultramarine, olive green, sap green, some yellow ochre, some Payne's gray, Indian red on the lake house thing. The water was mixed with some green that was on my palette already. It was a mixture of green. I have no idea what mixture it was, so I can't say what that was made of. And yeah, I am going to stop talking now and put some music in, and I will pop back in at the end. happy with how it came out. Wasn't sure that I was going to be able to paint this in a way that I would be happy with afterwards, and I am very proud of it, and I think that I will really enjoy having this as something that I can look back on later on. If you've stuck with me this far, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know that you've made it this far by telling me what your favorite hike is, or if you've been to Watkins Glen Park, what you thought of it. And if you're not a hiking person, let me know. I don't know, actually. If you don't like hiking, then tell me where you would go instead, I guess. This was such a great way to kick off our hiking weekend, and I'm so glad that we made the decision to stop here on our way up. My next travel sketchbook spread will be the next leg of this hiking trip, which was Letchworth State Park. So keep an eye out for that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.